Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we've allowed for our platform. This mic to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, well, we ask that you join the cause. Make sure that you're actively following and are subscribed to all of our social media platforms. Currently, right now, this live program is being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. We could be found under Frankie Olivo. Make sure you follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, if you haven't already, create a Gmail account, go to YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, I will never ask you for money. I will never ask you for food. All I ask of my community in return is something very simple. You want us to continue to provide you with the latest information that is happening within our area? We'll gladly do so. All we ask in return is for you to follow us across all of our social media platforms. What we're asking for is something that won't cost you a thing. Now, you may ask, why? Why do you continuously start your program asking us to make sure we follow across all the social media platforms? Well, there may come a day where you search for our profile, Frankie Olivo, on Facebook with a following of 45 followers, and we may not be found. You see, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the viewer, the people, to know the truth. But remember, it will not be silenced. So if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, you know what to do. Make sure that you're following all of our social media platforms. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday religiously. So make sure that you are subscribed to Frankie Olivo TV on YouTube. We will not be silenced. And always remember, South Texas, we are forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you have provided us this far. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Thursday. I hope y'all are ready to enjoy the Charro Day Sombrero Fest festivities. Schools throughout the city will be releasing early. Today is the day in which everyone anticipates this time of year. It's a day in which, or a weekend in which we celebrate, appreciate the cultural history and tradition that we share with our border neighboring sister city of Matamoros, Tamaulipas. It is during these times where we learn to appreciate the cultures, the values, the traditions, the dances, the music that we have lived and appreciate for so many years. I hope you're ready for these festivities. Make sure you take your kids, your loved ones to the parades that will be happening. It's a beautiful time where the student and band and choir and the dance team, they're able to, to showcase their talents out not only to their family and friends, but to the entire city of Brownsville. It is a beautiful thing. There is some changes this year that I've been hearing. The VIP. Before, VIP Sombrero Fest, if you had a VIP ticket, man, you were the man. You would get unlimited alcohol. You had your own space for you to use a restroom. And let me tell you, it's hectic out there. I would encourage you to take your own roll of toilet paper because it's muddy out there. But if you had the VIP last year or previous year, you were able to come and go, use the restroom freely. Now, from my understanding, the VIP tickets are only limited to the vendors, not to the general public, which has caused many people to be upset. But at the end of the day, these individuals, these organizers, they're trying to make a profit. What happens is whenever somebody has, the way it works usually is there's always a group of people. A group of people that go in, 5, 10, 20 in a bunch, and they say, hey, who's got VIP tickets? Okay, well, you're the ones that are going to be giving us the beer, giving us the alcohol. So maybe they're trying to change that and say, hey, we're going away from that. So nonetheless, if you're going to go and enjoy the festivities, be safe, be responsible, and enjoy yourself. I hate to be negative. I always get that a lot, but I don't have or don't see a performer that really catches my eye that says, wow, man, hey, we have to go. We have to go. In previous years, I remember Los Tigres del Norte. That was big. Who else has played? I can't think of a name that stands out. Mr. Amigo, we have Alex Alejandro Fernandez, the grandson of Vicente Fernandez. Again, have we lost our ability to capture A-studded celebrities? It's difficult because at the end of the day, we do have to pay them based on their fame and, their quality of work. So it is difficult. But nonetheless, Sombrero Fest, Charro Days is here. I hope each and every one of you enjoy the festivities with your friends and your loved ones. Ramon Ayala, when was Ramon Ayala here? You see, Yalo, I remember Los Tigres del Norte because you couldn't move. Intocable, was Intocable here not too long ago? I remember when Los Tigres del Norte were here, you couldn't move. Like, they showed like a drone image of, it was, packed. Washington Park, I think they even cut off people at the doors in like 2010. I don't remember that, Yalo. Again, I try to avoid large crowds. I start freaking out. Oh my God, there's a lot of people. Oh my God. I just, I like to go during the day. I'm a big sucker for the fajita tacos. They're like $12. Ladies and gentlemen, I spend like $100 on myself just on food. I don't drink. So I'll buy myself a Coke, a Dr. Pepper, and I'll get myself like 4 or 5 tacos throughout the day. That's where my money goes to, the food. It's crazy, I know. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about something very interesting, something that has been transpiring at the national level. And even now, it hit close to home. Today, we're going to be talking to local doctors that were accused of filing false healthcare claims and how the Department of Justice has come down hard on them. We will focus on this topic because it is one that has captivated the ears, the minds of many people. From what has happened in Minnesota, now is happening in our very own backyard. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville. And that is how we will start today's show. But first, a word from our sponsor.
I've dedicated my life to public service, but now I see a county that's ready for change. It's time to bring accountability, transparency, and efficiency to how your tax dollars are managed. We can lower taxes and make government work smarter for you. I'm Jonathan Gracia, and I humbly ask for your vote for Cameron County Treasurer, so together we can build a better future.
Today's story is actually one that is very personal to me. You see, if you're not aware, I'm an insurance broker. I would dare say 60-70% of my line of work deals with healthcare. I have the privilege to provide services to our elderly population. Majority. My focus is Medicare, Medicaid recipients. And one thing that I have seen in my time as providing my services to my clients and to the community has been that year in and year out, we're starting to see how the benefits from the federal government are starting to dwindle away. Living in South Texas, we are all aware of the poverty. We are one of the poorest in all of the nation. We are one of the least educated in all of the nation. We have a large population of residents that live on a fixed income. And here, Brownsville, if you haven't been following, is going through a lot of changes. Some will say that, having SpaceX LNG in our backyard is a good thing. Others will say it's a bad thing. Whenever we have a concentrated area that is generally poor, that is generally dealing with diabetes and other health complications, is not a good formula for success. What I can tell you is that year in and year out, we're starting to see how Medicare, Medicaid benefits are going away. Now, one thing that I have been criticized for is supporting President Trump during his previous quest to become the now president. One thing that he focused on, that he talked about, was getting rid of fraud. Whenever we talk about fraud, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we aren't aware, but it happens more than we think. When we think about fraud at the national level, the topic of discussion, if you're not aware, has been the fraud that has been uncovered in the state of Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz is largely blamed for Somalis defrauding the state of Minnesota in the sum of billions of dollars. If you aren't aware, ladies and gentlemen, in recent months, major news agencies, they've been covering major fraud scandal that has happened in the state of Minnesota. And this has drawn national attention as federal and state authorities have uncovered widespread abuse of public assistance programs. Federal prosecutors, they have charged dozens of people in schemes involving Medicaid, housing assistance, autism services, and other service programs, describing the fraud as large industrial scale. And it involves hundreds of millions and possibly billions of taxpayer dollars. A high-profile case and program that has been identified has been Feeding Our Future, where it involved alleged diversion of funds that were originally meant for child nutrition during the pandemic. Investigators in Minnesota, they have expanded their inquiries to at least 200 healthcare and social services programs across 14 Medicaid programs, with some prosecutors estimating that a significant portion of the roughly $18 billion that had been distributed over the past several years may have been obtained fraudulently. You see, the controversy has also spurred political backlash. The federal government, as of late, recently froze about $260 million in Medicaid payments to the state of Minnesota. Why? Because they cited fraud concerns. And this issue currently right now is being debated in Congress and within the Minnesota's political arena. State officials, while acknowledging fraud challenges, have pushed back on some of the higher estimates and emphasized ongoing efforts to strengthen oversight and recover public funds. You see, healthcare fraud has been going around for the longest time. Many people have criticized the current president, the Republican Party, because they say, don't vote Republican, don't vote for the GOP because they want to take away our benefits. A large part of, or the main reason why the GOP, in my opinion, has been so steadfast on wanting to eliminate fraud is because of cases such as Minnesota. You mean to tell me that for the past, 10, 15 years, a certain group of demographics in the state of Minnesota has been defrauding the government in healthcare fraud? Whenever I think of the Democratic Party, I always think of handouts. Many people allude to the fact that that is the way they keep themselves in office. Let's keep the poor poor. Let's have them depend solely on the party. We'll give them all these social benefits, housing, a phone, food, Medicare, Medicaid. It comes to a point where these individuals, for whatever reason, they have no expectations of bettering themselves. Without the assistance of the federal government, they won't make it. Now, I don't want to seem cold-hearted because at the end of the day, 95% of my clients in Texas and in the state of California are largely dependent on Medicare and Medicaid. When I tell you, my people, that there is a lot of need here in our area, I have seen it firsthand. I am of the belief that we should help out our elderly population. We should provide services for our disabled individuals and also our disabled veterans. I don't want you to misconstrue that and say, oh, this guy, I don't know, no, I believe wholeheartedly in assisting. But what happens? As the saying goes, one bad apple always ruins it for the rest of the group. Is what is happening in the state of Minnesota, is it affecting the country as a whole? Yes, because this current administration at the White House, at the federal level, is seeing cases such as Minnesota saying, if this is happening in Minnesota, I don't know, could this possibly be happening in Texas? Could this be happening in California? What is happening in California, ladies and gentlemen, is very interesting because Governor Gavin Newsom has been accused of inappropriately spending billions of dollars that were originally dedicated for the homelessness. If you aren't aware, if you've never been to LA, to Skid Row, it's very sad where people that are consumed by drug abuse. It's a very big issue in the state of California. Is what is happening or what has been uncovered as of late in Minnesota, is this happening in other states? Possibly. What is alarming from this, all, ladies and gentlemen, is that these cases ultimately will affect everybody. Look, I'm in the insurance business, healthcare. What I have seen has been from the different insurance carriers has been, as of late, year in and year out, they're giving away less benefits. You see, Medicare recipients, whenever they enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, they are eligible to receive dental, vision, and hearing, and possibly food benefits. It all depends on the level of plan you have, the level of assistance from the Texas Health and Human Services, for Medicaid, the Medicare Savings Program. You see, there's a lot of benefits out there for those individuals that qualify for Medicare or are disabled. When I started in the game, man, these insurance carriers were giving out benefits like crazy. $180 for food. You could use this not only for food, you can also pay your light bill. You could also pay gas. They use different incentives to try and attract a customer. My job is always to look at the client's current plan, and I always assess the situation. Mr. Frankie Olivo, sir, how you doing? How's this past year been treating you? How has the plan worked out for you? Moving forward, have you been going to your doctor's visits? Have you been going to your specialists? Are you seeing your dentist on a regular 6 months, 3 months basis? Oh, ¿sabes qué, mijo? Yesterday I met with a client. Yesterday somebody said, Frankie, why did you come on at 12 noon? Is it because you're doing something new? I saw that you got a lot of viewers. A client called me. And the client said, Nico, I need you to come tomorrow. I need you to help my husband and I. Yes, ma'am. What time do you want me to be there? Be here at 9 a.m., Nico. Yes, ma'am. I'll be there. Again, my client dictates my life. Whatever my client says, I will do. If they say to be at their house at 8, 9 in the morning, Frankie will be there because at the end of the day, I work for them. And yesterday, my client said, you know what? I haven't been taking care of my teeth. I went to the dentist. They quoted me $8,000. Necesito postizas. I needed cleaning. I needed extractions. My job is to say, okay, ma'am, your plan right now that you currently have, you have to pay 50% of any non-basic cleaning procedure, any cosmetic serious services. The client has to pay 50%. I said, look, man, you're eligible for $3,000. Here are the resources. You won't have to pay 50%. So that's my job. My job, and look, the beauty of this is that I'm contracted with 9, 10 insurance carriers in the market in the state of Texas and in California. It doesn't benefit me per se to promote one plan over the other. At the end of the day, my job is to assess the client's needs and say, okay, is this current plan working to their favor? And every year, ladies and gentlemen, every year in October, plans change dramatically. So I have to visit with my clients and say, look, moving forward, these are the changes that are going to happen. Is this okay? Do we need to make a change? And based on their needs, based on the prescriptions that they're taking, I provide different options and say, look, Mr. Frankie Olivo, Miss Frankie Olivo, these plans would be best because of your current situation. Also, I assist individuals applying for Medicaid, the Medicare Savings Program with the Texas Health and Human Services. Whenever I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a lot of need here in our area, it's because I've seen it. We deal with this. The firm, shouts out to the Perez Hernandez Perez Hernandez team. I'm very blessed and honored to be a part of that group. Great individuals that provide services to our community. And man, I don't mean to be biased, but those guys rock. Those guys are awesome. I'm very blessed to be a part of that team. And our job is always to try to maximize the benefits for clients. Now, are they insurance agents out there that commit fraud? Yes. Are the insurance agents out there that lie on applications to try and get the client some sort of benefits? Yes. Do clients themselves lie about their resources to be able to apply, to be able to be eligible, to be able to be approved for these social program, assistance programs? Yes. That happens on a day-to-day basis. I would never dare do that because I'm not going to risk my livelihood. I'm not going to risk my license for $600. It's not worth it to me. So what do we see? We have been seeing fraud at the national level. But now, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we got news that the Department of Justice did recently just made an announcement, and they did let me bring it up. They did announce that 6 doctors within the Rio Grande Valley were caught, and the representatives, for submitting false claims to Medicare, Medicaid, and TRICARE. These services were not even rendered. These services were not necessary. Does this happen a lot? Yes, more than we would think. And again, my job isn't to belittle people. I believe wholeheartedly in innocent until proven guilty. What is interesting to me is my question moving forward is what's going to happen to these individuals? You see, the individuals here on the screen today that I have before you, one of them on the left, Jairo Rodríguez, is a pulmonary doctor. And is my understanding that he is the only one, or if not, one of the few lung pulmonary doctors in our area? What's going to happen to his clients? Now, again, 6 South Texas doctors and their representatives practices, they have agreed to pay 4.8, let's round it off, $5 million to resolve allegations that they submitted false claims, according to the United States Attorney General's office, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas. The doctors listed are Javier Cabello, 47 of San Benito, Ammar Halloum, 52 of Brownsville, Jamil Madi, 54 of Olmito, he's on the right side of the screen, Jairo Rodríguez, 62 of Rancho Viejo, on the left side of the screen, and 2 other doctors out of Wesco and Far. These doctors, they had an LLC. They owned and operated Benchmark Inpatient Services out of Harlingen. Jairo Rodríguez, he also owns and operates Brownsville Pulmonary Center. Now, the Department of Justice is alleging that from January of 2020 to May of 2023, these doctors, they allegedly submitted claims for critical care. Jairo Rodríguez allegedly submitted claims for pulmonary function tests. According to the patient's medical records, the Department of Justice stated that, hey, these people didn't need these testing. These people didn't need the care. Essentially, the government is accusing them of fraud. Now, the way it works is whenever a doctor bills Medicare, Medicaid, and what I've noticed in my short time is that doctors love Medicaid recipients because for the most part, and again, it's a case-by-case basis, of course, but whenever an individual has Medicaid, the state pays, I would dare say, 90% of the time, 100% of the time, no questions asked. So it's kind of tricky because whatever the doctor, the physician, the specialist, whatever they bill, I would dare say, and I could be wrong, but I would dare say that 90 to 95% of the time, they don't ask questions. Whatever they bill, they get paid. Is this a case where these individuals were actively defrauding these federal programs? Now, again, according to the Department of Justice, it shows that these individuals only ran this scheme for 3 years. Again, according to the Department of Justice, the United States Attorney General's, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Texas, they claim that this is going on for 3 years. Why? I'll put it here so you can read it if you'd like. What is interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that there was a whistleblower. Alguien puso el dedo. And again, payaso, that's the question that we want to ask. Is this something to where the doctors were caught? They're going to pay because that's what they say. You know, the Department of Justice isn't saying that they were arrested. Essentially, what this press release is saying, that they agreed to pay the $5 million settlement. But moving forward, what is it going to do? And that's a good question, Payaso. Why aren't they being prosecuted? I had a discussion with a doctor this morning, and they said, Frankie, maybe they're not going to go after him because Jairo Rodríguez is one of the only pulmonary lung doctors here in our area. And I said, doctor, don't you think somebody else would come in? And he said, Frankie, who wants to live in Brownsville, Frankie? It's great money, but who wants to live here? So you make a great point, Payaso. Why? Look, if you and I, common Joes, well, I'll speak for myself, a common Joe, if I get accused of fraud, you think they're going to let me pay the money back? No, but they're going to throw me in the slammer and be like, hey, right? Maybe these doctors are giving it leniency. I don't know. That's why that's why I chose to talk about it, because what is the repercussions? What's going to happen? What's the final outcome of this? Is it just put your hand? Don't do it again. Shame, shame, shame. I would dare make the argument that now, because of this, doctors in the Rio Grande Valley and possibly throughout the state, possibly throughout the country, are now going to be put under a microscope. Now the doctors are well aware, they're on to us. Because now the government is going to see, okay, give me the medical records. So I think that's what happened, because the press release says that this was going on for 3 years. What happened? Something happened. If you look at the very end, look what it says. The settlement stems from a quim tam or whistleblower complaint filed under the False Claims Act, which permits a private party to file an action on behalf of the United States and receive a portion of any recovery. Was there someone, I don't know, in the billing department that found these irregularities and said, I don't know about this. This doesn't look good. Maybe they're pushing more. They want more, bill more, bill more. But doctor, these individuals don't need these tests. According to their medical records, tú hazle. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why did they stop in 2023? Maybe they got wind. Maybe the federal authorities started asking for medical records, and that led them to believe, oh, crap, maybe there's something there. They're going to find something. Let's stop. Maybe. So somebody, again, I could be wrong. What do you think, chat? Because according to how I interpret this, the settlement stems from a whistleblower complaint filed under the False Claims Act, which permits a private party to file an action on behalf of the United States and receive portion of any recovery. So the whistleblower, how I'm interpreting this, the whistleblower alerted the authorities, and that person that alerted the authorities is going to receive some sort of compensation for that. Good for them. I know we were raised not to be a dedo. I know we were raised not to be a snitch. But hey, man, we shouldn't allow for our community to be subjected, to be used for something like this. So are they going to lose their license? I don't know. I don't think so. Possibly. But I didn't get that from the press release. Again, what's going to happen? These types of cases, and the one that we have been seeing and following out of Minnesota, ultimately is going to force the federal government to pinch and say, you know what? We're going to take away all these benefits because of a few bad apples. And at the rate we're going, ladies and gentlemen, at the rate we're going, in my profession, we're going to come to a point, possibly in 10 years, but my colleagues allude to the fact that we might come to a point where the Medicare Advantage plans is just health, medical, hospital. Maybe we might come a time where there's not going to be no dental, vision, hearing, food benefits. Some plans this year aren't giving away food. And whenever I had to explain it to my clients, I said, what do you mean? No. I depended on this money. I need this money for my food. Sir, Miko, food's expensive. I'm barely making it. I depended on this money. So some plans this year got away with food. They're not giving that benefit out. Is that going to change next year? Possibly. Again, this insurance carriers, in large part, I would say, are reactive. They study the market. Also, a big chunk of that comes from the federal government, because they see what the federal government is doing, and they say, okay, well, this is how we're going to play it. But are we going to see moving forward how Medicare, Medicaid recipients are going to lose benefits in the long run? I believe so. And my colleagues have already said it. Brace yourself, because this could be the norm in the very near future. It's not going to happen next year, but the way it's going, ladies and gentlemen, it's a possibility, which is scary. Why? Because again, we do have a heart. We do sympathize. We try and go above and beyond for our clients, because we recognize that there is a need, that they do need help. But unfortunately, according to the Department of Justice, doctors such as these, we can make the argument that they are the reasons why our elderly population, those who live on a fixed income, why moving forward they will receive less and less benefits. If you think that this is an isolated incident, you are mistaken, because this has been going on for quite some time now. What does this show? This shows that the federal government is not messing around. Now they're actively looking into these types of cases because they want. Lolita, good morning. On the left-hand side, Lolita, of the screen is Jairo Rodríguez. He is a pulmonary doctor, lung doctor, offices out of Brownsville and Harlingen. On the right is Dr. Madi, the Department of Justice. On this, if you want to click on this, Lolita, according to the Department of Justice press release, it alleges that these two doctors from Brownsville, Rancho, Viejo, Olmito, along with 4 other doctors, 6 in total, were falsifying, submitting false healthcare claims for patients that didn't need the required services. And these doctors were billing Medicare, Medicaid, and TRICARE. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, why am I talking about this? Because this hits close to home. Because these are doctors in which my clients go and see. Why is this important to us as a community? Because you have a loved one. That could be a mother, grandparents, suegro, suegra. You know somebody that has Medicare or Medicaid. How do you feel of doctors lying, abusing the system at the cost, at the expense of your loved one? Why? Because according to my colleagues, moving forward, it is cases such as this that we talked about. Cases such as Minnesota, because Minnesota was billions, people, billions with a B. Here, $5 million. To me, $5 million is a lot. But it's because of incidents such as Minnesota, such as what happened in Brownsville, that our elderly population, those that live on a fixed income, our disabled community, is going to lose benefits in the long run? That's a good question. I don't know, because what options do they have? Again, according to my understanding, Jairo Rodríguez, pulmonary lung doctor, is the only one or one of a few here in the area. So who do they go to? Gamboa? Are they going to travel to McAllen? Maybe. Some don't have that luxury. Are they travel to San Antonio? Maybe. Some don't have that luxury. That's a good question. I don't know. What should, patients do? It's tricky. Maybe this would encourage another doctor to come into the area and say, hey, we do things right. We're going to service the community. Maybe, Gamboa. I honestly don't know. Because this is big, of epic proportions. This is healthcare fraud. This is very serious. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Best believe Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday religiously. He's one of the only ones in Brownsville. Thank you so much. He's the only one in Brownsville. Wow. So what does that tell us? He's one of the only ones in Brownsville. Scary. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Enjoy Charo days. Enjoy sombrero. Make sure you go out and vote. Switch doctors. That's a tough one, Enriquez. That's a tough one because, again, a pulmonary doctor, lung doctor is one of very few. If there is others, should they change? That's a very delicate question to answer because based on my experience, it's very tough for the relationship that we have with the doctor is very personal. We want to go with somebody that we are familiar with, that we are confident in, because these individuals ultimately they know our ins and outs. They see our bodies, they study our bodies, they're familiar with us, and for us just to change from one day to the next to somebody is difficult. It's very difficult. So, is that a possibility for people? Yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy Charo days, enjoy sombrero. Make sure you go out and vote. You have today and tomorrow to cast your ballot early. On Tuesday, March the 3rd, is election day. Make sure you go out and vote, my people. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Hope to see you here tomorrow morning. My name is Frankie, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace.